Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the Shudder Horror Weekend. I was hoping there was more in this can. Well, I want to pour a can into this glass, and that's what we got with the glass. Who gives a shit about a glass? Anyway. We were talking about the final terror, which I had I'm gonna put this on the main because that's done now. Which I've heard of. I'd seen it on Tubi, and actually several times I had it on the docket to do for a Tubi horror weekend, but just never pulled the trigger on it. And then finally, one weekend, Joe Bob's last drive-in, you had Survival Night, and we had Mute Witness, which I just reviewed. Go check that one out, and the Final Terror. Boy, is there a lot to talk about with this movie. A movie that is not so good, but has a lot of behind-the-scenes shit. This movie was originally filmed in 1981, but wasn't released until 1983. It's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation sort of situation where they filmed this in 1981. They couldn't find a distributor. Didn't know what to do with it. Then, a couple of the stars got big. Some might know, like Adrian Zemet or Daryl Hannah. Yeah, they got big. Daryl Hannah did Blade Runner, and Adrian Zemet did Grease 2 and TJ Hooker. So it's like, okay, these guys are getting big. Let's put out the film. Though they weren't as egregious with it as Sony was, or Columbia TriStar, where they put the actor's face on there and marketed it. No, they just released it, the Final Terror. It's a backwoods slasher. If you use slasher in the loosest term, there is barely any kills in this. There's like 5 kills, and too many people survive this. And 2 of the kills actually had to be added later. There's an opening scene. 2 people on a motorcycle and they get killed. That was added after production, which was angered director Andrew Davis, he of The Fugitive and Under Siege fame, until he had to be paid a fine by the producers for that, and he was happy then because it paid for his wedding. So he was like, "Cheers." He's like, "You shut this without me? Well, here's $50,000. Cheers. I'm getting married." Or was it $500,000, something like that? And besides Zemed and Hannah, we also have Mark Metcalf, who's the master on Buffy. He was also Niedermeyer in Animal House, which I just did I did the College Files. I did a short on that. Still a great film. And he's in Twisted Sister music videos. What do you want to do with your life? I want to rock! Yeah, he's in the, yeah. And he dies in a sex scene that Andrew Davis was not comfortable with, and you can tell because it's shot so close together. The female actress, is not naked. She shows nothing. You see Mark Metcalf's ass for a minute, and then he gets killed. And Joey Pants. That's right, Joe Pantoliano, or Joey Pants. He's in this, and he's the most obvious killer you could ever put. When someone disappears for a chunk of the time, you know it's the killer. It's been done in the Scream films. They're just not on screen. What happened to them? And there's no excuse for it. During this film, his character, Edgar, him disappearing is not even how I figured it out. And here's the kicker. He's not even the killer. And he's not technically a red herring. We'll get to it. There's a scene where they explain the backstory of our killer. There was a young teenage girl who was lost in the woods. She got found and she was R-worded, essayed, taken advantage of. And she was sent to a mental institution where she found out she was pregnant and the baby was taken from her. When the kid was 19, he broke her out of there and left her in the woods. Yeah. And there are clues to the fact that it's Joey Pants. Because at one point, they're talking about going in the woods. And, hey, you guys gotta stay away from this one part of the woods there. It's just, I'm doing the Italian Joey Pants, but he's really southern draw. You gotta stay away from that part of the woods there. It's kind of hard to do it. And they don't listen, of course. And then the part that really sells it is when Mark Metcalf tells that story at the fire. Immediately, Joey Pants gets pissed at him. And he goes, well, it's him. He's involved with this somehow. He's going to kill him. He disappears. And the reason he disappears is Joey Pants was actually playing the killer when the killer's on screen until the end when it's a stunt woman. So, yeah, that's why he disappears. So if you're thinking, oh, it's Joey Pants because he's gone, he disappears from the film, it's because he's playing the killer. But his character, Edgar, is not actually the killer. It's Edgar's mother. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. Also, the death with the sex scene, okay? Mark Metcalf gets stabbed in the ass a few times. We cut away. He's dead. But then the girl is missing. But the girl's been taken hostage. But there's no real reason for it because then when they're in a raft, her body is just thrown onto the raft. And it's like, why did she even hold her hostage? I don't know. Also, Adrian Zmed just disappears for about 20 minutes of the film. And you're wondering, why is that? Is he a red herring? No, it's so they could do a joke with his name. Because his name is Marco. So they're walking around the woods going, Marco! Marco! Si te sono Marco Polo. Yeah. And then because you're like, oh, did he get killed? No, he shows up, he's fine. Because there's a scene where at night where he's just sitting there and you see a tree bush person and you're supposed to think he's been killed off screen or something. No, he's fine. Marco's fine. They just did it so they could do that joke. Real funny. I mean, 1982 was probably funny. Now, 40 some odd years later, probably not. But, So they eventually decide we're going to ambush this guy. We're going to go seek out Edgar. And we're going to find him. Which leads to the ending of this film. So the deaths in this are really nothing to write home to. I think the best one is really the opening one. That was added after the fact. They get hit by a trap and everything. Mark Metcalf's is really kind of a cutaway. He gets slashed in the ass a couple times. You see blood and it cuts away. You don't really see what happens to Melanie. That's the girl he was porking. Then she gets thrown on the thing. Actually, I think the one you see the most is Zorich. At the end here, when they're standing there calling for Edgar, she pops out, hooks his leg with the blade. He falls back to his death. And this is after they've found Edgar and start beating the shit out of him, thinking he's the killer. Yeah, by the way, like I said, there's way too many survivors in this. There's 5 survivors. Adrian Zmed, Daryl Hannah, who almost gets killed earlier, but then she's fine. So Adrian Zmed, Megan Ward. Is it Megan Ward? I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Megan Ward is the chick from Amityville 5 and Trancers 2, right? Rachel Ward. I was right. Megan Ward is the Trancers. Rachel Ward, Adrian Zmed, Daryl Hannah, and 2 others. And I think they're both black people. So, they gotta add some merit to the, against the whole black people are killed first. No, they're not. I've seen hundreds of horror movies. Rarely does that actually happen. Just in movies where they're making fun of that, like Scream 2. I mean, even Deanne Richmond's character, who's supposed to be the token black guy, after he played the token black guy, or before he played the token black guy, doesn't die first. So his death is one of my favorites. Oh, you motherfucker! And then it pulled the rug out. Love Deanne Richmond. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the psycho. I gotta go, motherfucker. I'm just a token black guy. I was supposed to stand here and say things like, damn, shit, that is whack. Sorry. A little Dan Richmond love there. So, yeah, the ending of this movie. Edgar has been his ass kicked. The mom shows up. It's revealed that it's his mother. He goes, Mama. So that's the story they told at the beginning is true, which you already knew was going to happen. Because if you've seen any Friday the 13th movie, you're like, well, obviously they're telling the story. Did that finally get done? Hold on. I've been waiting for my Xbox One to update because I wanted to start playing games on there again. Yes, finally, but then I was telling me I have to connect the Xbox Network. Why? I'll do it afterwards. Anyways. Also, I had Chris Jericho. Anyway. So. What was I talking about? So the ending to this movie. Okay. She's up on the thing. Joey Pants is already getting his ass kicked. And she killed Zorch. So she standing up there, the trap that they set, or she set, they spend an awful long amount of time trying to set something up in the trees. It swings out, hits her, she swings out, she's dead. It cuts to their faces watching this, and then credits. And if you're like me, you're sitting just going, it's not over. Edgar's still alive. He could easily get up and start killing them. There's no solution here. There's no way I would have done it. At a scene, right? Of this happens, she swings, maybe they celebrate a little bit, and then we cut to the cops talking to them and them arresting Edgar, sending him to the same mental institution his mother was in, and him swearing revenge. So you get set up the sequel, because this was the 80s, they were all about the slasher sequels. I don't know. Andrew Davis has come in saying he doesn't like horror movies, and you can tell. I don't think he particularly cared to do this. This has everything all over it of, I don't want to be here. I'm just doing this to make money. He didn't care. The sex scene, which he was forced to do, very zoomed in, he didn't care. It's not that he didn't know how to do it. He didn't want to do the sex scene. And, this was very much, I'm just doing this for money. And they don't release it for 2 years. So, screw him, right? And even when you watch this, you'll notice it looks like crap. That's because there's no master tape of this. They had to put different versions of this together to release it on Blu-ray for Scream Factory. So you watch it, and it transfer does not look good. Scream Factory is known for their fantastic transfers. This is not it. They tried. Warlord, did they try? But it just not. No, the backgrounds are all faded and everything. It just does not look. I'll tell you what, the forest they're in, because they shot in a real forest, gorgeous forest. I'd love to go camp in there. Well, not if the crazy woman is there or Joey Pants jumps out at me, but, be nice. But I'm not big on camping anyway, because I have, the white noise thing, where to sleep, I have to have some sort of white noise, like a fan or something. I've been camping a few times during my life, and it is hard to get to sleep. You don't have a fan or anything. You just hear, the birds and the chirping and all that. It's kind of hard. Then you're in tent with other people, and some people snore, and it's right? So it's hard for me. We even had to set up a tent and sleep outside, and I had a hard time with that. I'd end up going into the house because and it sucks because we begged to sleep outside, and then I'm like, I come in, I can't get to sleep. I just can't do it without the fan, and we're not, we can't set up an extension cord or anything, because what if it rains? Right? Well, if you're then outside, you gotta make sure it's not gonna rain, but still, there's still dew on the thing. I don't know, it's just, I don't know. But this movie, I'll give it a middle of the road. It's fine, but it's not something I would go back to again. I only went back to it because I decided I wanted to. When I watched them that night, I'm like, I want to do reviews on these. I want to talk about these. I don't know when I'll get a chance to. Now I have both of them. And here's the thing. I mentioned I couldn't remember how Witness ended because I've been, but I said I remembered more of this than I did of that, and that's true. But I still couldn't remember how this one ended. And after watching it, I'm like, I just don't think I was paying attention because that's very possible that I was in my own little world and then it ended. And next thing I know, Joe Bob's back talking about shit, and I have no idea what happened because it ends so suddenly. She gets hit with the thing, she swings back, they're staring at her. See Joey pants down there, and then it end credits. So yeah, it's the middle of the road. So, what are your thoughts on the final terror? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.